So you had a chance to hear a bit about Cambridge Analytica um, finding a way to uh, get information on Facebook users and their friends, um, and then using that information. And just remember, Facebook knows, I know most of you don't use Facebook, um, tends to skew much older. And actually, the number one country for Facebook users in terms of numbers of users, you know what it is? It's India. But Facebook and all social media know a lot about us, not just the demographics, not just age and relationship status, but what we like, what we don't like, um, what kinds of groups we're in says a lot about not just our demographics, but our psychographics, our behaviors. Okay, and so Cambridge Analytica, using Facebook data about people's behaviors and opinions and what they like and what they don't like, got ideas about how to influence how they thought about political issues and about politicians. Um, this is an example of the usage of big data in a, well, I'm going to say it's for a negative, it's for a negative purpose. Okay, and it gives databases and a bad name, and it brings up this issue of privacy. You know, what is, when we give these data, what can be done with the data? Whose property are the data? How much of a say should we have about how our data are being used? This is one of the primary issues in today's business. Um, I don't know how I ended up back here on this slide. Hold on a moment. Okay. Okay, well, we did this. We did this. Sorry, everybody. All right. Okay, so we're talking about direct and interactive marketing in the news. Here's another scary example of data because in addition to a privacy issue, you know, there's the issue of hacking. Okay, so once those data exist somewhere, they can be hacked into. Uh, and this is another story we see all over the news now. Who's gotten hacked? And in fact, in 2016 elections, in those elections, the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton's campaign, was hacked. Um, and a lot of emails were meant to be private were sent out and created some problems. Um, Here's something in the news from the New York Times. You find I read the New York Times a lot. Here's this from August 21st, it looks like. And it looks like it was 72 degrees when I took the screenshot. But this was a story about a company called Illuminate Education, which is used by quite a few schools. I think mostly elementary schools, not by colleges. But information about students was in this database, not just name and age and address, but whether the student is getting any special help or any you know, extra tutoring, whether the student has problems or disorders or is autistic, those kinds of things. So schools hadn't really taken enough steps, and the software company had not taken enough steps to safeguard their data, and someone hacked it. Um, Hacking is a business. Um, there's a company, this is a page from something called the Global Threat Report that a company called CrowdStrike puts out every year. Um, this is a link to the CrowdStrike site. Let's see if I can go to the link here. Okay, here's the 2022 Global Threat Report, GTR. CrowdStrike is, I opened up the threat report, but CrowdStrike is a company that consults on database security and helps companies not get hacked. Maybe helps them if they do get hacked. So here's a letter from the president, George Kurtz. Here's uh, some information about this report. It's go to this site. I suggest you do CrowdStrike. You can just give them a little information about yourself, ha ha ha, and go into their database and get information and download this report. It makes interesting reading. There's the page that I copied that you looked at a minute ago. 21 newly. Now, what we see is, by the way, I don't know, I know I have the slide. All right, so these are, you see a lot of companies, countries, I should say, have hacking teams. Russia hacks folks. In fact, they're probably the people who hacked the Democratic Party in 2016 and leaked information, caused trouble. Vietnam's got a hacking group. North Korea has done a lot of hacking. They're very good at it. They hacked into Sony um, movie company a few years ago. You may remember that there was this movie, maybe you don't. It was supposedly a comedy about trying to assassinate King Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. Um, and the North Koreans didn't like it. They didn't want it put out. Sony was the producing company, and so they hacked into Sony's emails and found emails from Sony executives making fun of some actors. They found out that there were salaries that people were being paid for films mentioned in the emails. So a certain actor saw that somebody else got a lot more money than they did, and anyway, it caused a lot of trouble. You've got Iran, Pakistan, etc. People's Republic of China, very active in the hacking front, looking for all kinds of information. Okay, and ransomware, by the way, let me just close this all out. Ransomware is when a company basically, takes over your database. That's my YouTube channel where I'm uploading all the lectures. The company takes over your database, and you can't get access to your database unless you pay them a ransom. Um, here's eCrime Index going up. The bottom axis is date, and the top axis 100, 200, 300 is numbers of incidents. And you can see e-crime is going way up. This is what we looked at before. Um, um, names of state, in many cases, state-sponsored actors hacking into other countries and other companies' databases for hacking purposes, but or excuse me, for ransomware purposes, but usually not. Usually trying to get secrets and information that they can use for something. Here's a hacking example. I'm not going to play the video. This was a couple of years ago when a U.S. company, Colonial Pipeline, was hacked, ransomwared, and by some actor, they think based in Russia, not sure, they don't think it was the Russian government. But Colonial Pipeline had to pay something like a $6 million ransom to get their data back. They shut them down. And they paid it in Bitcoin, and the FBI, as you can see here, um, got a lot of money back, something like $4 million back. So we see a lot of negative stuff about hacking, and uh, we'll watch it. So, trying to put this on here. Hang on. Okay. Hang on. Just bear with me here. So I don't want to, here we are back here again. I don't want to play this video for you guys, particularly. But what I do want to do is, so there's a lot of negative about privacy and hacking, for sure. But let's not let that um, conceal the fact that there are a lot of positives going on in the world of databases, artificial intelligence, etc. There are good things. There are problems being solved uh, by the use of um, database analysis. Here's another headline from the Times, recent also, um, talking about building a vast database of New Yorkers' DNA, um, and to try to see if there's a link between different gene sequences and being able to be cured of a certain disease or catching a certain disease or not. Okay, so there's a positive example. Okay, and here's another one, again in the medical field of medical scientists, doctors, I guess, um, were able to establish a correlation between how you breathe at night and whether you have or are likely to get Parkinson's disease. Okay, so this is a case of looking at who gets Parkinson's disease, who doesn't, and looking at all kinds of environmental lifestyle factors for each of those people. And then finding that surprisingly enough, there's a correlation between a certain kind of breathing pattern at night and whether you have Parkinson's. This will presumably enable doctors to have advance warning of people who are likely to get it, and this could be of big help. So there are positives, good things happening with big data. All right, so now we're going to stop, and I'm going to start a new section where we go online and look at the syllabus, which you can find in Blackboard under course information. You should have read it before this class. We're going to go over it now.